this gentleman who, if I remember correctly, was a retired NYPD detective who had just moved to Boise like a week ago. And it was his first time walking through that park. And he happened to have a knife in his pocket. And so he came over and cut the rope, got me down on the ground. They called paramedics. And they tried to, do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, tried to bring me back, but I was actually dead for like 20 minutes. And I don't remember when I came back, and I don't remember anything for like 2 or 3 days after the accident. I just remember being next to my brother and then went back in the hospital. Like a couple of days later, I just remember waking up in the hospital.
All right, welcome back to the Rain Brings Growth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Sidwell. We're here with Brady Greer today. He's a former professional golfer, bodybuilder now. Met him at the gym. He's a really cool guy. Can't wait for you guys to meet him. How's it going, Brady?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming on, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's funny. We actually met because of just one of the hoodies that I made. And you asked Charlie, you're like, hey, where'd you get that hoodie? And he's like, oh, he's over there on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And then just started talking, and you had a lot of cool things to say about, pain and things that you go through with growth.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, this dude, this is my kind of guy. So
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me. No, it's just kind of how it happens. Like, whenever I'm out in public, I'll see something about someone, whether it's their hair, their shoes, their hoodie, their hat, something to form some sort of identity around that person, right? Because people identify themselves by their attire and their habits and their actions, right? So like you look at something that someone's wearing, it's like you can kind of get an idea of what that person feels like, right? So I saw that hoodie and I was like, oh, hey, that's pretty dope.
yeah.
So, but yeah, and then, and we got to talking and, thank you for, inviting me on here.
Yeah, dude, I think that the world needs more people sharing their story. And I mean, there's a lot of weak men out there right now that need some guidance. I know I was one of them, and I needed other people to share their story, and I realized I wasn't alone. So I think a lot more people can come out and share their stories. I heard just a little bit of what you were saying, and I was like, man, that's a cool story. We got to hear it. So, yeah, dude. So let's just start out from your childhood. You grew up here in Idaho?
Yeah, so grew up here in Boise, lived here for most of my life, and then when I got into the golf industry, I bounced around between, Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, Canada, all over. And so like at 9 years, I moved, I think it was like 27 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, just working at different courses and because golf, so like early on golf for me was like, I guess you could say my biggest passion and kind of the first hobby I fell into. And it kind of was, the reason I really got into it is because when I was 9 years old, my brother died in a boating accident. And, sorry, it's the first time I've ever said this being recorded.
Man.
And my mom was cheating on my dad with the guy that was driving the boat. And so, family fell apart. Very unstable household for quite a few years between the ages of like 9 and 12. And one day when I was 12, my stepdad. So my mom ended up marrying the guy that was driving the boat, and was abused for several years. Between the time my brother died and leading up to about the time I was 12. I'm leading back to golf eventually, I promise. And so when I was about 12 years old, it was somewhere between 6th and 7th grade, one day my stepdad, he held me against the wall by the throat while my mom beat me with a miniature baseball bat. Like one of those little mini bats that you get when you go to a game. And I decided that day, I was like, I just don't want to, I don't want to be here anymore. Um, and I mean, it was at that point, like, abuse was like a daily thing in one way, shape, or form. And so I decided to go to the park by my mother's house across the street from Centennial High School. I can't remember the name of the park, but went to the park with the intention of hanging myself, and found a tree, climbed up, and tied the rope around the tree, tied the rope around my neck, and I jumped out the tree. And I remember sorry, I remember being separated from my body, kind of like looking down and standing next to my little brother. It was like just as young as the day he died. He was like 5 years old. And he said that he's like, it's okay. I'm with God and everything's okay. He's like, we're with you, we're watching you, and everything's going to be okay. Like, it's not your time. You have to go back because God has big plans for your life. And so while this is going on in my mind, there was, ironically, at that same time, a youth group from a local church that was at that park for a field trip. The kids that were part of that youth group saw me hanging, told their youth group leader, hey, there's a kid over here hanging from the tree. She ran over, and I think she like tried to lift me by the legs to try to take pressure off my neck, and started screaming for help, like, hey, help. And this gentleman who, if I remember correctly, was a retired NYPD detective who had just moved to Boise like a week ago. And it was his first time walking through that park. And he happened to have a knife in his pocket. And so he came over and cut the rope, got me down on the ground. They called paramedics. And they tried to, do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, tried to bring me back, but I was actually dead for like 20 minutes. And I don't remember when I came back, and I don't remember anything for like 2 or 3 days after the accident. I just remember being next to my brother and then went back in the hospital. Like a couple of days later, I just remember waking up in the hospital like, okay, where am I? And so after that, my dad and I started playing golf to bond, but also as a way for my dad to try to teach me how to control my emotions when things go wrong. And so, fast forward into high school, I fell into the gang world and started selling drugs and fighting for money at parties. And basically this led to a downward spiral for about, I don't know, about 9 years maybe. And all the while still, like playing golf and like trying to figure out why I'm here, like why am I still alive after going through all this stuff? Because even after like my abuses from my mom and my stepdad, my own grandpa's tried to kill me, so anyways, I was about 24 let's see, 25 maybe. And I was at Banbury Golf Course on Eagle Road. And I think, did I tell you this story?
I believe so.
Okay. And so, you know, I was at Banbury Golf Course and I was on the chipping green, which
And when was this? Like after in the timeline?
I was probably about 24, 25.
Okay.
Okay. And so, like, by this time, I had been in the golf industry for about 5 or 6 years. I had bounced around from state to state working at, I worked at Royal Oaks Country Club in Vancouver, Heron Lakes Golf Course in Portland, Oregon, Country Club at DC Ranch in Scottsdale, and various other clubs all around because I was trying to use golf as my way of becoming successful, like because it was the one thing growing up that like brought me some form of joy.
When did you start taking it real serious? I know you said your dad and you had started doing it, but then when did you realize you wanted it to be like a career for you?
That so like I said, when I got into high school and into college, I was selling drugs, and I think I was 21, maybe 22, and I was at a hookah bar, and I was sitting at the back of the place with my eye on the front door, and see these guys walk in carrying guns, and I tap the girl next to me. I'm saying, "Hey, you need to call 911, but don't raise the phone up to your ear." I was like, "Just leave it down on the seat." And I was like, "We're about to get robbed." Okay, and sure enough, the guys walk up, point the gun right in my face, say, "Hey, give us everything you have." I'm like, "Dude, you can just take it, man. Like, because I'm not gonna give you anything." And so they took what I had at the time. Cop showed up. I remember having this discussion with one of the detectives from the Boise Police Department, and he was asking me, "Hey man, what was going on? What happened? Why are you here?" And I was telling him I'm selling drugs, obviously, and he's like, "Why are you doing this?" He's like, "You're 22 years old, man. Like, you need to be thinking about your life and where you're going, and you need to really evaluate whom you're surrounding yourself with and the things that you're doing. And like, dude, you need to realize that you're leading a very self-destructive path. And I urge you to make some changes in what you're doing." And so around the same time, I was like studying speakers, ironically, and podcasts too. Because I was like, one day I was like, I want to get out there and share my story, right? And so I'm listening to a speech by Steve Jobs, and it was a commencement speech that he did at Stanford in 2005. And in this speech, he's talking about life, love, and death. And he's like, he's talking about the time in between when he got fired from Apple and started Pixar. And he was talking about the process of starting Pixar. And because when he was at Apple, he surrounded himself with bad leadership, and the CEO ended up stabbing him in the back, and that's how he got forced out, right? And so when he started Pixar, he's like, I'm not going to make that mistake, so I'm going to start evaluating what I'm doing, whom I'm surrounding myself with. And I would wake up every day and I'd ask myself, am I okay with what I'm about to do today and with whom I'm about to surround myself with, right? And so I started asking myself that same question every day. You know, I'd go, you know, am I really okay with what I'm about to do today and the people that I'm about to spend time with? And every single day, the answer was no. In that same speech, Steve Jobs was like, if the answer is no for too many days in a row, then something has to change. Because eventually it's going to spiral out of control. And so I started thinking, I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I was like 19 or 20, right? And like I worked at a driving range at this point, and like really like golf. I'd watch every tournament on the weekends, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna try to turn pro in golf. Yeah, I'd never played in high school. I didn't play in college. I was never played in any sort of tournament. I was like, you know what? I was like, I want to try to turn pro. Because like my life has to mean something, right? Like I got to be here for something, right? And so that's what I did. I left behind the gang world. To this day, since that day at the hookah bar, 15 years ago, I haven't been to a bar. I haven't been to a hookah bar. I haven't been to like any sort of like club or anything where that kind of behavior goes on. Okay. And immediately I went to work on like, okay, what do I need to do to turn professional? How do I do this? How do I go from being nobody to somebody? Right. And I was like, I need to learn. I need to study. Right. And so I started watching every single golf broadcast. I would study everything about the golfers. I would study their facial expressions. I'd study their mannerisms. I'd study their body movements walking between shots. I'd study their pre-shot routines. I would study their biomechanics during their swing. I would study everything about them. Because it's like, if I want to be like them, I need to be like them.
Yeah.
Right? And so also I started reading voraciously about golf. I mean, I collected, at one time, I must have had over 200 books on golf. And so I was reading constantly about the history of golf, biographies on players, books on golf course architecture, books on biomechanics, books on how to read greens. Anything and everything about golf. I tried to, I completely immersed myself in it for almost 10 years. And, and I started to meet people and make connections to where they're like, hey dude, like you should consider turning pro. Right. And so like I think it was 2 sponsors at the time. And I was, this was now going back to when I was fast forwarding 10 plus years. It's 24, 25 at Banbury, at the golf course that I mentioned. And so when did I start taking it seriously is in my 20s, I would say. And that led to about 8 years of like hardcore immersion in the game. And the last 2 years, the last 2 years were what I would call my fork in the road moment, where something happened that like, hey, maybe what I'm doing isn't what I should be doing, right? Like, even though I think it's right, even though I feel that it's right, it's not why I'm really here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and I felt that way in golf for a long time.
Just realigning your purpose.
Yeah. And like the whole time I was in the industry, like I was making connections and meeting people and having opportunities. But the whole time I was like, I don't feel like I belong here. And like competitively, even like I'd have really bad anxiety, like on the golf course in between shots. Like, and that's actually why I ended up ultimately retiring. So I had an anxiety attack in my last tournament. We'll come back to that later. And so, anyways, I had made some connections to the point where I had convinced people to back me financially to make an attempt at playing professionally in some tournaments. And so I was scheduled to play on the Golden State Tour down in California in November of, I can't remember exactly what year it was. It was Snowmageddon year. I don't know if you were here for Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
Whatever,
it was like 17, 18.
Yeah,
somewhere
2017. There. Yeah, that's right. And yep, that's right, because it's been about 8 years since that fork in the road moment where, anyways, So I'm at Banbury. It's the day before I'm leaving for California for my first pro tournament. And I'm on the chipping green, which at Banbury faces north. And the driving range is on a probably like about a 110-degree angle by about 60 yards, and it faces east. Right? And on this day, it was sometime in mid-November, and it was right before the snow hit, and it was cold, right? Like it was maybe 41 degrees, and I was the only person there for hours. I was on the chipping, and that's the thing. Like when I would go to the golf course, man, I would, God, I could put in 10 hours of work a day, between putting and chipping and hitting balls and playing. And it's like I used to have this drill. Sorry, I'm like bouncing around, but
Yeah, you're good, dude.
I used to have this drill where on the putting green, I would put 10 tees around the hole from 3 feet, 6 feet, and 9 feet. And so from 3 feet, I would have to make 10 putts in a row from each tee before moving on to the next one, right? So 10, 10, 10. But if I missed at any point, I had to go back to the first, okay? So the whole point was to get all the way around the hole, making 100 putts in a row. Sometimes it'd go really quickly, and sometimes you'd get to like the 8th or 9th tee and go all the way back to the beginning, right? And so from 6 feet, same thing, 10 putts in a row from each tee before moving on to the next one. But from 6 feet, I could stay where I was. I'd be like, I'm not going to go all the way back to the beginning from 6 feet because that's too much. From 9 feet, I had to make 2 out of 3 putts before moving on to the next tee, and I could stay where I was if I missed because my reasoning was that at the time, and I'm not sure what the statistic is now, but at the time, PGA Tour make percentage from 9 feet was 37.6%, right? So like 1 out of 3 times you're going to make a putt from 9 feet. So in my mind, I'm like, if I can make 2 out of 3 putts from any angle around the hole, because like as a golfer, at any point around the hole, whether you're below the hole, to the side of the hole, or above the hole, wherever you're at is going to determine the trajectory, the speed, the break of the ball.
Right? Yeah.
So it's like if you can learn to control the variables, especially from 9 feet of the putt, right? Like, so I do that, and then I go practice chipping, go hit some balls, right? And that was my routine. And so I would spend hours. I mean, especially when I worked in the industry because it was free.
Right, yeah.
And so it's like when it was free, it's like on my days off, dude, I'd get there at 6 a.m. and I wouldn't leave until like 8 p.m. Like I'd be there for like 14 hours. I'd eat all my meals there. And so that's kind of like how I got good enough and taught myself because I never had lessons. Like I never had a coach, right? Like, and that was like ultimately why I believe I kind of failed in golf, honestly, is because like I didn't trust people because of like my past and my youth. I didn't trust people enough to let them get close enough to help me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like I didn't let anyone coach me. It's like I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to teach myself how to do it, right? And so like I'd spend, like I said, all day doing it. And so going back to Banbury again, I'm at the golf course and I'm practicing flop shots. And I'm like 2 hours into my practice, and there's, like I said, there was no one there because it was so cold. And all of a sudden, this ball comes out of nowhere and hits me on the leg, right? And like kind of like got me by surprise, right? Because like my first thought was that somebody snuck up on the chipping green and just hit me with an errant shot, and I didn't notice. And it's like, okay, I look up and there's no one there, And so I look up on the range, and there were these 2 guys laughing, like full-bellied laughing. And so like in my mind, of course, I'm like, hey, these jerks just tried to hit me. All right, they did hit me. and so like I snapped, right? And like I made the choice to respond. And I started going off the handle, and let's keep the words in check a little bit. But I was like, "Hey, F you guys, you should have yelled for. What the F are you doing? You mother, you could have hurt me." Just pissed. It's like, I'm leaving tomorrow. I was like, that day, my then girlfriend and I broke up. My grandpa died. Like, now I'm dealing with this situation at the golf course. Like, it's just one thing after another. The day before I'm leaving for California to go on this adventure, right? Of like trying to become a professional golfer. And so, like I said, I'm going off. And I remember hearing this voice, and it wasn't in my mind because it's like, hearing voices in your head. It's kind of weird. But anyways, I felt it in the air around me, moving through me as it said, "Son, you need to stop right now. If you want to be a force in this world, you need to humble yourself. You need to go over there and apologize for the way that you've just reacted to the situation." First, I was like, okay, I'm hearing voices. Like, this is a little weird, but like, okay, I'm going to take a second to calm down. So I was like, went through the process of what I call de-escalation. I started like trying to calm down. I grabbed a couple balls out of my shag bag, and I wasn't ready to like approach them directly because I was still heated. And when I get, and you ask anyone that knows me, like, I can come across as very intimidating. Like, even if I'm not trying to be, like, people for whatever reason just find me intimidating. And so it's like when I'm angry, that intimidation factor goes up. And so it's like, okay, I need to wait before I talk to these people because I don't want this to escalate beyond the position we're already in. And so I grab a spot a couple spaces down, and I'm just like, I'm trying to calm down, right? And I'm trying to just like let go of my anger enough to where I can have a conversation with these people. And so I had like 4 or 5 balls, and I hit like 2 or 3 of them. I'm still in the process of calming down. And they ended up coming over to me, and they're like, "Hey, dude, we're sorry for hitting you with that shot. Like, we didn't mean to hit you. What happened is you had 2 guys. So we're on the range here. You had 2 guys, right? The guy here on the inside. Now, physically, this isn't going to make sense, right? And being at Banbury, how impossible what I'm about to describe is. The dude here hits a shot that goes around his front leg, goes around his friend's front leg, and goes backwards and hits me on the leg. Right? Like, physically, I don't care how good or bad at golf you are, to curve a shot 50 yards backwards, you just like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm impressed that you could hit such a shot." Excuse me. Like, that really bent the laws of physics, man. Like, good job. And so once we kind of joked about it, that kind of like, everyone was like, "Okay, we can talk now."
Yeah.
And we can have a conversation. And so, not the guy that hit me, but his buddy asked me. He was like, "Hey, dude," he's like, "It's gonna seem random." He's like, I'm a pastor. Like, would you mind if I prayed for you? It seems like you got a lot going on," because like by this time we'd been talking for about 5 or 10 minutes. I'd kind of shared like, "Hey, sorry for like flying off the handle and like screaming like a madman. Like, it's grandpa died, girlfriend and I broke up, leaving for California tomorrow. I'm very stressed, very upset, very depressed, a lot of mixed emotions going on." And so, but he was like, "Could I pray for it?" And I was like, I don't really believe in God, dude. Like, thank you, but no. because like sorry, um, because of everything I experienced growing up, to me there was no God. Like, I was like, there's no way there can be a God if I'm going through all of this pain and all of this suffering. Like, there's just no way that there can be anything resembling something like a God. Just can't. That's how passionate I was about my position at the point. Like, I was absolutely, nope. We just evolved from monkeys. Like, you know, we just got really smart on our own, and we're just here for whatever reason. Who knows why? And that guy was like, you know, that's okay. He's like, I'm not trying to get you to accept Jesus. Like, that's not what this is about. Like, I'm not trying to get you to go to church or anything like that. Like, I see a broken soul, and I want to pray for it. And I was like, thanks, dude, thanks, but no. It's like, you know, it doesn't make sense. You know, you think about like the events leading up to that point, right? Like you get hit with the shot. You choose to make the reaction. You hear the voice of what is probably God or some sort of emissary of God speaking to you, trying to say, hey, man, like, you should probably calm down and think about what you're doing. And then the guy's like, hey, I'm a pastor. No. I'm good. I don't need that. I'm fine. And finally he asked me again after like 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, go ahead and do your thing. Because like in my mind, like I want to get back to my practice, dude. Like I'm leaving tomorrow. Like
Sure, yeah.
I need to get back to preparations, but also I started to like really think about everything that's happening. Like just the shot, the voice, like my whole life, like where I'm at in that moment, like leaving tomorrow on what in my mind I chose to do with my life. That I myself as an individual made the choice, like this is what I want to do. But ultimately, and so I relent. I'm like, go ahead and do your thing, you know, because I'm recognizing that, hey, things are happening. I should probably listen to what's going on here. And the guy was like, okay, cool. Would you mind if I put my hand on your chest? Now, in my mind, I had been abused my whole life. I grew up fighting for money at parties. Okay, I don't like being touched. Like my fiance sometimes will be cuddling or whatever, and she'll touch my hand or rub my leg or something, and I'll like shake just like out of reflex, PTSD, like whatever you want to call it, right? So for me to let someone put their hands on me is a very big deal. Anyways, I was like, okay, go, whatever, dude. We've come this far. Go ahead. And this moment right here is where like my whole life changed, and how I view things, how I do things, how I respond to things can go back. How I do things now can go back to this very moment. And I remember the moment his fingertips touched my chest, I felt this vacuum pulling all the anger, the rage, the depression, the sadness, the vindictive hatred that I had for my own family, my life, and everything, right? Like all that bad shit that I was holding on to. I could just feel it. And this energy went and exploded into my body. And I started convulsing head to toe uncontrollably. And I started weeping. Like you can see, I'm an emotional dude. Like I cry. Obviously, like it's okay for dudes to cry. It's okay if you're sad, you can cry. Okay. But like up to then, I hardly ever allowed myself to cry. Okay. And like the floodgates were open, dude. Like I was just a wreck. And I mean, like I said, it was like, and like in turn, my body was just like, and this guy launches into a prayer, and he brings up my brother's death. He brings up the abuses that I suffered as a kid. You know, my mom, my dad, my grandpa trying to kill me. He brought up my involvement in the gang world, selling drugs and sexual promiscuity and all these things that I was doing that no one should know about, because I was very discreet and like didn't tell anyone. You know, I had a very core group of people that really knew who I was, what I was about, and the things that I did. Right. And this was before the age of Facebook and Instagram, so there's no digital evidence of me at parties or anything like that. But for a time, anyways, this guy knew everything about me. And so it's like, there's no way you could just look this stuff up. Right. And I'm like, who are you? And what is happening right now? And it was like, I'm just a dude. Right. Like, I don't know you from Adam. And like, we were just about to throw down. Right. Like, we were just, and we both laughed and continued talking. He was like, you know, God loves you, dude. Like, God loves you. And ultimately, he has his eye on you. And so, fork in the road, right? Like, sitting here now, I can look back and be like, that was God telling me, hey, dude, you need to really evaluate why you're here, okay? You aren't here to play golf. You're meant to do something else, okay? But at the time, I was like, God, dude, I'm leaving. This whole, wow, this was really cool, but I'm going to go to California. And I left. And didn't go well. I played in like 2 or 3 events and didn't do well at all. And came back, and this was about maybe 6 months later, and I was like, okay, maybe playing professionally isn't what I'm gonna do, right? Maybe I should go teach, right? Because like I just couldn't keep my emotions under control on the course. Like whenever I made a mistake on the course for whatever reason, I would just get so upset. And like, and you know, on the golf course, so you have to be totally relaxed, right? You can't have any sort of tensity in your hands when you're gripping the club, because that can totally affect the arc of your swing, speed, and everything, right? Like you got to be able to let stuff go. And yeah, so I ended up signing up to take a PAT, and went out the day before. PAT is a playing ability test, so like your buddy from Riverbirch. I can't remember his name. Damien, yes. Thank you. Whenever you go to be a PGA pro, you got to take a playing ability test, right? Basically an assessment of your skills. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. 36 holes in a single day, and you have to be, I think, within a 10-stroke handicap. And for someone of my skill level, should have been very simple, right? Walk in the park. Right? I was like a +3 at the time. I think the PAT was I think it's Sand Creek Golf Course in Idaho Falls, Sand Hollow Golf Course, Sand something in Idaho Falls. Get out there. I shot a 67. It was like a 4 or 5 under or something like that. I was like, felt really good. I was like, okay, tomorrow's gonna be great. I felt feeling really confident, and I was like, cool. I'm gonna go do this assessment. I'm gonna go back into working in golf and start being an apprentice and start being able to teach, because I wanted so much to be able to influence the lives of those around me as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult. It's like I always wanted to help people or teach people or just connect with people, right?
Yeah.
And so golf at my time was like my biggest passion. Like I said, I've read hundreds of books on golf and watched thousands of hours with the broadcast. Like, I was obsessed. You ask my dad and my friends who knew me at the time, it was like he was obsessed. Like, all he did was golf, 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 golf. All he talked about was golf. And so, yeah, I wake up the next day, and for whatever reason, my anxiety was just through the roof. I was sitting in the hotel room, like, just heart palpitations, difficulty breathing, right? I'm like, God, why? I don't understand. Like, what's going on? And so I get ready. I go to the golf course, and like I get to the course, I get to the range. I didn't putt at all for whatever reason, because my routine was I'd always go warm up on the putting green, see how the grass was doing that day, like especially in the mornings. Like, if it's in the morning and it's cold, the grass is going to be wet. It's going to roll a little bit slower. The break isn't going to be as much. Like, you got to learn. And so whenever I'd go warm up at any course, anytime, I'd always go putt first and see what the greens were like. And so this day, for whatever reason, I was like, nah, I'm not going to. I played so well yesterday, I don't need to practice my putting. I'm going to just go warm up my swing and just go. Mistake number one. And consistency, right? Like, you got to stick with the habits that the habits that got you there. And for this day, I just chose to do something differently. I go to the range, and my hands on the club were like shaking, right? And like, okay, I'm like, something is not right here. And like, I just could not hit the ball. I mean, every shot was just shank after shank, duck hook, shank, duck hook, shank. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And like, I started like having this like deep, like indescribable fear. Like, this is the test that's going to determine the course of my life. And here I am. I can't get my shit together. And I totally broke down. I started like panicking and like hyperventilating, and like I grabbed my clubs. I went out to the parking lot, put my stuff in the car, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, I can't do this. I can't play golf anymore. I can't do it. I'll never forget like the feeling in that moment. Like, I had put like 9 years of work every day, learning as much as I could, doing as much as I could. There's no way I could have worked any harder to get myself to where I was. It just wasn't possible. And I knew right then, I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's just not worth it. Like, the stress was just eating me alive.
I was like, even on the mini tour, you talking to any pro that's ever played competitively, whether it's on the mini tours, whether it's for skins, right? Like stress, it's a big deal, especially in golf. And for whatever reason, because of my past, I could just like internalize that stress and like just be like, okay, this is here. I feel it, but like I think I got control on it. I think it's okay. I'm just gonna keep going. And that day is like, nope, I can't do that anymore. And so I went up to the pro and I'm like, hey man, I was like, I'm backing out. He's like, dude, you're going off in 20 minutes. What are you talking about? I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I can't. I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth. I was like, tears coming down my face. I was like, I can't do this. Please. I was like, keep my money. I was like, I don't want a refund. I was like, I don't care. I was like, please just don't say anything to anyone. Just say I chose to withdraw. I was injured. Something. I don't care. Just please let me go. And okay. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, I hope it gets better. And and for a while it didn't. By that time I had a situation with my dad. My dad was like my support system in golf. Like he kind of financed my whole early career, and like by that time he was like, dude, this is it. Like I'll help you get ready for the PIT, but after this, like I'm done. Like I'm not gonna support you anymore. You got to figure out what you're gonna do. You're like figure it out. Because I'll admit, like I was very manipulative in getting what I wanted when I was younger. I was very selfish in my motives for doing things. I would say, help me out with this and I'll pay you back. And for whatever reason, I was unable to do it, whether it was by choice or circumstance, right? Like, it wasn't like I just chose not to pay everybody back. Sometimes I just couldn't do it. But I had made the promise to do it, right? So people were like, hey, you promised me. You said you're going to do something. You didn't do it. And so my dad came back home. I was like, I quit. I backed out of the playing the PIT. I was like, he was like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be back until tomorrow. Because I didn't call him on my way home. I was like, and I was just between Idaho Falls and Boise. I was just like checked out, right? Like I didn't tell anyone. And I get home, and I was like, what happened? And I was like, I quit. And he's like, you remember what I told you, right? Yep. He's like, pack your shit. He's like, get the fuck out of my house. Like, you can't fucking stay here anymore. He's like, I told you, dude, like, I can't keep letting you do this. You've got to figure your shit out. And so I packed my stuff. And I remember at the time, what was it? I think it was, at the time it was 103.3. Now I think the radio station's different, but it's Kiss FM. They used to do this thing live from 175, where the DJ would, I think it's Kiki Love, maybe. I might have that wrong, who the DJ was, but the thing was live for 175, and the whole premise was this DJ would stay alive for a week straight, right? Or 175 hours straight, because 7 times 24 is like 164, and he'd stay up an additional 10 hours, whatever, to make it for 175. And so this event was going on, and the whole event was, I want to say it's like about domestic abuse.
Child abuse.
Child abuse.
Yeah, I remember they did that at the village. Like they had bikes set up or something.
Yep. I remember I went there that night. It's like 9, 10 o'clock at night, whatever. Maybe it was earlier. Yeah, actually, it was early in the afternoon. Maybe it was around 4 or 5. But anyways, I got on the bike, and because I was trying to get up the courage to talk to the DJ, like during a break, and just like ask for help. It's like I had nowhere to turn, no one to turn to. I didn't have any friends, didn't have any family. Like, ask for help, and so I managed to get in touch with him and say, "Hey, man, like I need help," and like I kind of told him a little bit about my childhood and my past, like briefly, like the events that led me up to this point, and like why, like I'm at this random radio event asking for help. Like I'm homeless now. Like I don't know where to go, what to do. I've never been in this position. And he was like, "Let me make some calls." And so he asked someone to like cover for a few. He had someone cover for him for a few minutes and called some homeless shelters. And managed to give me a spot. I think it's like the River Life Men's Shelter downtown on River Street. And so he's like, "Hey, dude," I was like, "I got you this spot." He's like, "Get down there. Like, you got to check in like in the next hour, but like, I got you a spot." I was like, "Oh my God, thank you." Just like, at least I can sleep somewhere. It's not in my car. Right. And, sorry. I'm like, so I get in the shelter and like, I'm there for a couple months and like, or a couple weeks, about 2 months. And, one night I had this dream that like, at the lake in McCall. So my brother died up in McCall on the lake up there. And, there's this area by the beach where you can sit and there's some benches. And I remember I had this dream while I was in the shelter that I was sitting by the lake and I was reading the Bible. I had this, in the dream, I had this white leather Bible. And it's like, I was just sitting there reading for whatever reason. And so the next day I was like, okay. I had this dream and I went back and in my mind I remember being that pastor at the golf course. I was like, okay, this has got to be a sign of some sort. And so like, I need to find a white leather Bible. Where can I find a white leather Bible? And so I went to a couple thrift stores around town and I managed to find a white leather Bible at, I think it was like the Idaho Youth Ranch downtown. Yeah, it was Idaho Youth Ranch downtown by Rhodes Skate Park. And bought the Bible, went up to McCall, and I found the bench that I saw in my dreams. And I sat down and I opened the book to Proverbs or whatever it was, some random book. I mean, dude, I'd never read a Bible before. I'd never had a Bible, never had, and so I'm sitting there reading, and this guy walks up, and at the time, I want to say it was like early March. Okay, I can't remember the year. But early March in McCall, like, can still be really cold, right? There's still snow on the ground, right? Like, it's not very warm. It's starting to turn around. But this dude walks up, and, like, I'll never forget it. He was wearing, like, this loose, not flannel type shirt, but, like, this loose, kind of almost like cotton button-up shirt that was just, like, super loose. Same thing with pants, right? Like this cotton type loose pants and flip flops, right? And he had this beard, right? And just walked up and said, "Hey, son, what are you doing?" Again, like going back to the time of the golf course, son, right? Like that word to me, like son. Growing up, like that whole, my parents were, I never felt like I had a relationship with my parents. I never really felt like I was a son to anyone. And so like this guy said, "Hey son, what are you doing?" I was like, looked at him like, "Dude, like, do you know where you are right now? Like, you're in McCall and you're dressed like for a day at the beach. Like, what am I doing? What are you doing?" I was like, I didn't say that. I was like, "I'm just sitting here reading the Bible, dude." And he's like, "Son, do you mind if I ask you a question?" I was like, "No, go ahead." He's like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Why are you in this spot at this time? Why are you here reading that book that you have in your hand? What is your reason for being here?" And I said, "I have no idea why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here in this moment. I don't know why I'm here on this planet. I don't know why I'm here. I'm trying to figure out what purpose there is for my life, what I'm supposed to do." And this guy was like, "Well, do you mind if I see your book real quick?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And he takes the book, closes it, and holds it in his hand, and like, it's gonna sound crazy, but it was like this glow, like came out from the book, like the light, kind of like between the guy's hands as he held the book, and he passed the book back to me and said, "Son, I hope you find what you're looking for and why you're here. I'll pray for you." I said, "Thanks." Right? Like, I was like, to that point, like I was still kind of struggling with believing in a God, right? And like having people pray for me, or like having a Bible, or like trying to connect with something that I couldn't see, couldn't feel, couldn't touch, right? Like I'd never tried to do that, understood that. And so I was like, "Thanks, man," and take the book. And like, I closed my eyes for like a second. And I remember like looking back up and he was gone. Right. And so like, for a very long time, God or whoever it is that created me, whoever it is that's been guiding me, has been sending me signs, hints, like keeping me alive, like trying to say, "Hey, dude, you're here to do something big. You're here to do great works, right? Like you're here to be somebody. You just need to have faith." Okay? Because what is faith? Faith is believing, having the believing in something without having the evidence, right? Like, "Hey, I'm going to try to do this, and I'm going to have faith that something up there is watching me, guiding me, has my back. I can give all my troubles to this unforeseen force, and I can just focus on trying to love myself, trying to be a good person, trying to better my life." Okay? And so like going forward from that moment in McCall, I was like, okay, clearly God is trying to show me something, that like I need to change something. Like golf obviously isn't it. And so like, for about a year, I was working these dead end jobs, and I was working. I was working at the Quality Inn up by the Boise Airport front desk, and I remember one day my paycheck bounced, right? It's like 28 years old. Cool, dude. My whole paycheck just bounced. And at the time, I had to go pay my gym membership that day. And I was broke, right? Because at the time, I was paycheck to paycheck. And so I go to the gym. It was Crunch Fitness on State Street. And I told my buddy that who was the manager, I was like, hey, man, I was like, I can't pay my gym membership. And he's like, what do you mean, dude? It's like, it's $25. And I was like, my paycheck bounced. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, dude, my paycheck bounced. And he looked at me and goes, what the fuck are you doing with your life? What are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were a professional athlete a year ago, right? Like, you tried playing some tournaments, you played in some big money matches, like, you were pro, you were sponsored. You were a professional. What happened? I was like, I quit. And he's like, exactly. You quit. You gave up. You have so much God-given talent that people like me would kill for. Abilities to do things that I'll never be able to do. And you fucking quit. You disgust me. And I'm like this guy's like pissed. Right? And I'm like, wow, dude. And he's like one of my best friends at the time. And I'm like, I'm like, do I get mad as this guy's yelling at me? Make the choice to react with equal emotion, equal force, and choose to be like, hey, fuck you, dude. Like, I don't need this shit from you. Like, you don't need to be yelling at me. Who the fuck are you to yell at me? But I was like, okay, tell me how you really feel, dude. Like, what should I do? I was like, I'm lost, man. Like, I'm working at a fucking hotel. Like, and he was like, tell me. He was like, how much time would you practice when you were a professional in golf? I was like, shit, dude, up to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, over 100 hours a week. And he's like, if you take half of that effort and apply it to bodybuilding, he was like, I think you could be a world-class champion in like 10 years. Right? So I was like 28, right? I'm 36 now. It's been about 8 years. But I remember sitting there in that moment, because it was about a year since I'd like retired from golf and like been homeless for a little bit. I repaired the situation with my dad, and like my dad let me move back home for a little bit, and like slowly starting to put my life together and like turn things around. And this guy was like, I think you can be world class. World class. I'm like, dude. At the time, like sitting here now, like I'm still an amateur. Like I'm not a professional. Okay. Like I'm not anything special. But like I do have musculature. I am bigger than some people, right? But at that time, in that moment, I remember I laughed. and we did a weigh-in on, it was something like an in-body machine. It was whatever Crunch Fitness had. And I was 276 pounds and 38% body fat. And I looked at him and I'm like, you think holding this report, think I can be a world-class bodybuilder? Like, I remember laughing so hard just because I didn't think it would be possible. Right? Like, there's just no way. And, but again, it was someone like, hey, dude, have faith, right? Like, listen to signs, right? I believe in life, God or whatever it is that governs this reality that we live in, unless you're crazy, won't speak to you directly. It's like to this day, I question like that voice that I heard and like everything, because it's like usually God doesn't interact directly with people. He'll send signs and speak through other people to you to be like, hey man, you should listen and like hear me and listen. And so in that moment I'm like, okay. And he's like, come work for me. He's like, I got a job for it. He's like, Crunch is a corporate business, your paycheck won't bounce.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can pay you. And he's like, I got a porter job, right? Janitor, right? He's like, you'll be cleaning toilets, mopping floors, wiping down equipment, keeping the place clean. He's like, it's not glamorous, right? And in my mind, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm a pro athlete. I'm gotta go scrub some fucking toilets. Like, okay. And he's like, humility, right? Like sometimes you gotta do things you don't want to do in order to advance towards ultimately what you really want to be or what you should be, right? And sometimes you need to humble yourself and do those things. Anyways, so I took the job, and he was also like, I'll coach you for free. He's like, because I think you should like compete at some point. He's like, I can't get you show ready. He's like, I'll train you for a little bit, kind of help you lose some of the fat, right? And like help you understand how to use your muscles and teach you, the core muscle groups, muscle movements, eccentric and concentric muscle movements, isometric isolation, right? Like I'll teach you the fundamentals, okay? And then at some point, like I'm going to hand you off to someone else that can like get you ready for a show, right? And so it's like, okay, bet. Like why not? Right? Like I've got nothing else to go for. So like up to this point, I'd never been to a show. I'd never been to a bodybuilding show. I'd never watched bodybuilding. I'd never like had any sort of trainer, any sort of coach in the gym or on the golf course. Like I've never let anyone guide me in any capacity in whatever it was that I was doing. I was so fiercely independent. I was like, I don't need help. I'm going to do it on my own. And so I was like, at this point, like, screw it. Like okay, let's do this. And so it was like the first part of like, I had to learn to love myself to the point where like, hey, it's okay to let people enter your life and like help you. Like that's okay. Like not everyone's gonna hurt you or try to kill you or whatever. Like try to let somebody kind of push you forward a little bit. And so we started training together. And I think we did that for like about a year, maybe a year and a half. And then he had to move to California, and I started training with Bryant Smith. I don't know if you've met him at 3D, but he trains at 3D, which is the gym that you and I both train at. And he's an IFBB pro in classic physique. I met him while he was at Berserker Fitness, and reached out to him and said, "Hey, dude," I was like, I want to get ready for a show. Like I'm at the point where it's like I really want to give this a shot. Like I want to compete. I want to like not just show up and do a show and be like, oh my God, I got on stage. Look at me. I went through a prep and got on stage in front of people. Hey, look at me. Right? No. I want to compete. I want to try and get to the Olympia. I want to turn professional. I want to be the best. Right? Because like in everything that I've ever done, I've always tried to be the best. Right? I've tried to be the hardest worker in whatever I've ever done. Right? People would tell me to do this, I'd do that, right? They'd tell me to do 8 reps, I do 12 reps, right? Like, do more. And anyways, so Bryant takes me on, we start working together, and gets me ready for my first show, in which we took second place, I think, and which was the Idaho Cup in 2022. And then he had to start focusing on his own career and development and didn't have as much time for clients. And so bounced around between a couple of coaches between 2022 and 2024 and did the Steve Carr in 2023, which is a show in Vegas. And I got first place in novice and got last in open. And I remember they gave me a medal, but there's no place on the back. Like first place, second place, fifth place, whatever. I was like, what's this? And she's like, oh, we give everyone a medal. And I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, what place did I finish? And she's like, oh, honey, you got last place. I'm like, excuse me? I was like, I got last place, and you're giving me a medal? Why? I almost threw it away, honestly, because like I didn't want it. But then I felt like it was a really good parallel, right? Like you have two trophies from the same show. One says first, the other says nothing, right? And so like that kind of fueled me from 2023 into 2024. And so in 2024, I was working with another coach that I'd rather remain anonymous, but we're getting ready for the Utah Classic, and which is in October, shortly before the Idaho Cup. And so the plan was to do the Utah Classic and the Idaho Cup last year and try to qualify for nationals. And so shows in October. I start prep in June, right? 16 weeks. And in August, I was coming home from work, and I remember specifically I was going to drop my car off at an auction house to sell my car online, and then I was going to take an Uber home to get ready for a Lindsey Sterling concert. I don't know if you know who Lindsey Sterling is, but she's a violin player.
Okay.
She came to Boise last year and had this concert that I had to get to. So I'm driving down the freeway, and boom, smack, right? This guy, right before the Meridian Road off-ramp, slams right into my car at 70 miles an hour. Oh, right, like I go sideways. Neck gets dislocated, right? Two vertebrae in my neck shift laterally by, can't remember how far, but I've been getting chiropractic care 3 times a week since this accident. Lower back, so the lumbar section of my spine, also dislocated laterally, okay, in 2 different directions. So my neck went right, lumbar section went left. So like my spine was just all out of whack and hurt really bad. And at this moment, it was like, fuck. I was like, do I back out of this show? Because like this is August, right? So it was like, I still got time. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't need to quit the show. I was like, I'm still gonna prep. I'm gonna keep my head to the grindstone, keep doing what I'm doing, and like I was able to get through my workouts and like do what I needed to do, but posing, right? So like in bodybuilding, like it doesn't matter how big you are. Like if you can't pose, if you can't present yourself in a manner that the judges will look at you and be like, wow, that guy's different from everyone else. Like he's clearly the best one here. Posing is everything, right? Like just like putting in golf. Putting is where you win in golf. Posing is where you win in bodybuilding. If you can't pose, you can't win. So, posing was horrible. I mean, my training coach, who, like I said, I want to remain anonymous. Like we'd work on posing together, but like in my mind, I'm like this just doesn't look good. So I started working with another posing coach at Mecca, and still I was like, God, this just doesn't look right. And I'm like, is it the coaches? Like, is it the information I'm getting? Because they're both saying similar things and like how they're trying to teach me to do the movements and get into position and how I need to flare my lats or angle my elbows or whatever. But like, it just didn't feel right. And so we get to Utah, right? And like my body, like I thought I looked great, right? Like I thought I was like, okay, Masters division, right? So like I did open in Masters because I'm over 35 and Masters is 35 plus. So it's like, after I got my novice win in Vegas, I was like, I'm not going to do novice anymore. I was like, I'm just going to try to do open and masters, because it's like I've already won at the lower level. I'm going to go up a class, right? And so did open, did masters, and I got last place in both. And I remember being backstage at that show. So like the Idaho Cup, like I think they're doing it different now, but before at the Idaho Cup, so like when I did the Idaho Cup in 2022 and Steve Carr was similar, you would do prejudging finals back to back. Men would go first, ladies would go second. You'd get everything done, right? Utah, however, you do prejudging in the morning, finals in the afternoon or early evening. And so did prejudging. It's like, God, I felt, I was like in the middle to start. I was like, there's first, and like I was right here. So I was like, God, I'm on second place placing. And then like I got switched to the outside. And like in bodybuilding, it's like you switch to the outside. It's like, that's where it's like people are like, okay, we want to look at the people that are front and center. So you get to the outside. It's like, you're obviously not going to place well. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, probably not going to end up as well as I thought. And show up for finals later that evening, do my routine, and they after you do your routine, they call you out for awards. And at Utah, I think they only called out the top 5. And I remember standing back there and hearing the names called, and my name didn't get called. And I was like, okay. And so I emailed the judge at the show, and they encourage you to go like talk to the judges at the show, like face to face, and like ask for feedback. But I was like so pissed that I didn't want to stick around and watch everyone else compete and like talk to this guy. So I just emailed, I think his name's Dominic Current. I said, hey man, I was like, can you give me some feedback? It's like I felt really good going in the show. I felt like my legs were great. Felt like my back was great. Like what was it? And he was like, I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like your body is great, but your posing was shit. Like that was the gist of his message. It was phrased differently, but it's like, dude, your posing was just garbage. And he's like, you need to really evaluate the quality of your posing before you consider competing again. And it's like, fuck, dude, I got a show in 5 days, because like it took him about a day or two to get back to me. So it was Sunday. Is the next day, actually. He got to me the next day. And so we're driving back from Salt Lake to Idaho. And so it's like, fuck, I got this show in 6 days. I'm going to quit. I'm going to back out of the show, and I'm going to quit again. And I remember sitting there in the car, emailing Elaine Craig, saying, hey, like I just coming back from Utah, I just got last place. I was like, I'm going to back out. I have this injury. Like, I just can't. I don't think I can compete. Like, I don't, you know. And it's like, I don't want a refund or anything, you know. I don't think I can do it. And so I was quitting again. Right. And it's like, in my early life, I never really quit anything. So it's like I quit golf and I just quit this show that I spent a great deal of money getting ready for. It was perhaps not cheap. I mean, you've got tanning, entry fees, training costs, like training with Charlie, right? Like it's not cheap, right? Like it's and then you throw in supplements. Like supplements aren't cheap either, right? So it's very expensive. And so, Elaine was like, okay, you know, we'll let you back out. You know, I hope your injury gets better. But tell you what, she was like, we'll take your fees from this year, 2024, and we'll apply them to 2025. Okay, we'll let you roll over and we'll let you compete next year if you get healthy. And so, like, in my mind, coming back from Utah, I was like, I'm going to quit this show. And, like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but, like, I'm going to focus on personal training or something, because like at that time I had gotten a personal training certificate and I was training a couple people like to supplement my income. And so I remember that, like, sitting there in the car, like, willing to give it up. And then hearing from Elaine, like, a couple days later, she's like, it's okay. You can compete next year. And I had to, like, seriously think about it. Because, like, fuck, I just got last place. I was like, I didn't make it in golf. I was like, I couldn't handle competing in golf. Yeah, like, I won in a novice class in Vegas, but I got last place in 2 open shows in a row. Like, to finish last 2 times in a row, this is very hard, right? And, like, you have to ask yourself, do you want to keep doing this? Like, do you have faith to keep going? And so I decided to let go of my former coach and reached out to Charlie, because my buddy Eric Brandt owns Jack's Nutrition. I was like, hey, dude. He's like, I got this, because I was working for Eric's construction company at the time. And he's like, I got this guy you should, like, think about coaching. He's like, he's a hard worker. He's like, I think he could be something special if you take him under your wing. And so Charlie's like, oh, okay, cool. Reach out to Charlie. I'm like, hey, man, would you consider coaching me? He's like, yeah, sure. And gosh, it's been a little over 3 months, I think, since I started training with Charlie, and which is where I met you at 3D, and which how we became friends. You know, but, like, I tell you, training with Charlie, and you trained with Charlie, you said, yes?
Yeah, this morning.
Yeah. Was it your first time training? How long have you been training with him?
Since August.
Okay. So just a couple months. So you'll understand what I mean when you say Charlie pushes you. Charlie engages with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, he will actively get you to push you past your limits. Like, whatever you think you're capable of doing, he's like, no, motherfucker, like, we're gonna finish this shit. Like, I don't care if you do half baby reps. Like, we're gonna hit that number. You're gonna get the job done, right? And, like, for me, he's like, you're the hardest worker in the room. Like, this is what it's like to be working for first place. This is what it's like to be a winner. Like, this is what it's like. And, like, it's great because for the first time in my life, like, I'm in a position where when I'm training with Charlie, like, whether it's Charlie, my work, Black Box VR, like, you see my hat, my shirt, like, I got to go to work after this. I work at Black Box VR, which is a virtual reality gym, but things are falling into place. I have a tremendous, awesome fiance. So I have a stable relationship, which is wonderful because I have someone who loves me, first of all, which is huge. Like, having someone that loves you is it's the greatest gift in life, honestly. And also, she's incredibly supportive. And so at the Steve Carr show in 2023, so we're going to backtrack a little bit here, we show up to Vegas, and we get down there on Thursday, weigh-ins are on Friday, shows on Saturday, right? We get down there Thursday night. I had forgotten my scale, and so I had to do, like, an emergency. I have Walmart Plus because I'm too lazy to go to the grocery store, and so it's like I just order from Walmart and, like, have it delivered. So it's like, hey, I have Walmart Plus. Let's do a scale and order a scale and have it delivered within an hour so I can, like, weigh myself, see where I'm at, right? Because, like, I had just my coach and I, who was also my coach for the Utah show in 2024, like, in 2023, weight was a big issue. Like, I had a lot of trouble getting down to where I needed to be. And I was very uncertain when I got there, like, where am I at? What's my number? And And so we ordered a scale. It showed up, and I get on the scale. And for my height, so in classic physique in bodybuilding, your weight cap is determined by height, right? I'm 5'10", so I'm in class B. Class B at 5'10", you have to compete at 203 pounds. Okay, so I step on the scale. What do I weigh? 214. 24 hours, less than 24 hours away from weigh-ins. I am 11 pounds from where I needed to be. And I'm like, this is what? And I remember looking at my fiance, or my now fiance, then girlfriend, and I'm like, I'm gonna quit the show. Like, I'm gonna back out. Like, quitting, you'll learn that like quitting's a theme for a couple of years. Like, when things get hard, it's like I'm just gonna quit. Like, because I just can't handle, because my life was so hard growing up. It's like adversity. It's like I can only handle so much, right? But by this point, I had people in my life that were like, hey, even though it's hard, let's keep going, right? Like, let's try to do something rather than just tucking our tail and running. And so she's like, shut up. She's like, you're not going to quit. She's like, we're going to find a gym that has a sauna that's open 24/7. You're going to go sit in that sauna for the next 3 hours. You're going to put on 3 layers of sweats, and you're going to sit there for 3 hours. And you're not going to eat a goddamn thing until you weigh in tomorrow. So it's like, okay. And this is like midnight, dude. It's like we get to Las Vegas Athletic Club, go in the sauna. Like, I come out at like 2:45. I was like, fuck it, 2:45. I was like, I'm out of here. It's like, it's close enough. I just couldn't be in there anymore. And didn't eat that night. Didn't eat anything the next day. Get to weigh-ins. Weigh-ins are 90 minutes late in starting, right? So I'm just like fucking irritated beyond belief. Oh my God, I am starving. I am like mentally, like just in this like gray area. Like, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know if I should even be at this weigh-in. I didn't know if I should even compete, right? I was like, I'm so far away from where I need to be. I don't even know if did I do enough to get to where I needed to be. That was the real question. Did I get to where I needed to be? Is my weight at that number? And so weigh-in start. I get on the scale, 201. Right. So I dropped 13 pounds in 17 hours. Right. Like,
Yeah.
but the point is, like, I had someone that pushed me to do something that I couldn't see myself doing. I wanted to quit. I wanted to back up. My fiance was like, no. She's like, you can do this. You can show up. And ultimately, I think that's why I got last place in open in that show. It's just like I lost so much weight so quickly that I got so small. And it's like, yeah, in novice class, it's like, yeah, I look diced and peeled. Sure. But like, you put me up against everyone else in the open. It's like, these people have density and they have striations, right? So it's like they look crisp, but they're also huge. I just look small. And so I knew going into 2024, I was like, okay, maybe this coach that I'm working with isn't so great. And like, sure enough, Utah, last place, but also car injury. So anyways, no, Charlie's the first coach I've had that's like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Super smart guy, right? We both have, like, he's been on your podcast before. I've listened to it. He's also had a rough childhood, so like he can empathize with me. And like there'll be some days where I'm like just in this headspace where it's like I show up, I don't complain about being there, but like I'll drag ass, like I'll just be a little slow. And Charlie's like, what's up, dude? He's like, I don't know, man. I'm just. And he's like, quit being a pussy. He's like, we're here to work. Okay, when you come in here, you need to get your shit together. And you need to realize that you are a strong man. You're not weak. You have control over how you feel. Okay? You can choose how you react to things. And like he's and that's what I love is like we'll train hard. Like, Charlie pushes me harder than anyone I've ever worked with, without a doubt. Right. But we also have these like super engaging conversations where it's like I'm learning so much about training principles, like how to control the rate of my muscle movement, the ratio of eccentric to concentric muscle movements, how long to do isometric isolation holds, how to structure yourself while you're doing movements, right? Like, but also like I have these really great conversations about just being a dude, right? And like for me, like my weak link is alcohol. Like, I'm not an alcoholic, but like I haven't had any alcohol in a couple of weeks, but like for a couple of years, it's like I was a daily drinker, right? Because like I'll have a couple of drinks of whiskey because like I have so much shit going on in my mind that like I need something at night to help me sleep, just to shut just shut everything down. And so I told Charlie about that. I was like, look, dude, I was like, I got this problem. Like, as my coach, you need to know that I drink. And he's like, well, how often do you drink? And I was like, every day. And he's like, why do you drink every day? And I was like, it helps me sleep. And he's like, okay, first of all, that's a problem. Second of all, like, he gave me some information to go talk to a doctor, and she gave me something for anxiety that helps me sleep. But he's like, you need to understand that, like, as an athlete, you need to understand that everything that you put into your body is fuel or it's not. And you need to choose and be very careful with the things that you allow yourself to put into your system. Because as a bodybuilder especially, it's like alcohol is doing nothing to help you. So why do you do it? And so he's also helped me like evaluate like certain bad habits and like help me realize that I can curb those, how do I say, dependencies. And it's been nice. But yeah, dude, that's kind of my story up to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, back when you were talking about your dad and he kicked you out, do you think that there's more parents that need to let their kids hit rock bottom?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I see that a lot, at least
Yeah.
in my personal life. There's a lot of parents that just are like just babying their kids,
Gentle
or
parenting.
or
Yeah.
even they just know that they're doing stuff wrong, but they're
Yeah.
afraid to let them hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't want to see my kids on the streets, or
Yeah.
like they have kids. I don't want to hurt.
I
have
need
their
to
kids.
support them because they're my kids. Right?
Yeah, and it's like the biggest thing that you're doing is hurting them by
Right.
letting them.
There's a difference between supporting your kids and enabling your kids.
Yeah.
Okay. And unfortunately, in today's society, we have this proclivity of enabling people to do things that are detrimental to the overall well-being of society, but also self-destructive for your own personal life. Meaning, parents will allow their kids to engage in activities and behaviors and lifestyles that ultimately, especially in today's day and age with like Facebook and Instagram and digital, like cameras being everywhere, recording everything, right? Like, all it takes for you to lose an opportunity is one photo or one video of you doing something stupid, and someone that you're interviewing with saying, hey, I need access to your Facebook account before we give you this job opportunity. I need to do a background check and analyze your social media history. That happens in certain job fields, you know?
Sure.
And so, like, if there's any evidence of you doing anything self-destructive or improper, let's say, it can hold you back from getting certain opportunities.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, dude, today's that's why, like, personally, like, I don't have kids, and I have willfully made the choice not to have kids, because I I don't want to be my parents. But also, I don't want to be responsible for a child, because the moment that you bring a child into this world, that is your primary responsibility for the rest of your life. Not for the rest of that child's life, but for the rest of your life, because hopefully your children will outlive you. Okay? And I don't want that responsibility, because then people will say that's selfish, right? Like, you should want to have kids and have a family. And it's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I don't want to have kids and have that responsibility, because then I'm responsible for teaching that kid how to be a decent person. And unfortunately, to be a decent person in this day and age, like to be a strong man in today's day and age, to take problems head on, to face things with adversity, and like not blame everybody for everything that's happening to you, and like it goes completely against our current values. Our current values teach you to be soft, that you shouldn't that you should seek an easy life. And that, like, it's just, yeah, dude. So, like, I don't want to be, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's society's current values, though. But, like, I'm not going to do that for my kids, right?
Right.
Like, I think that's just what people think the social norm is. But the thing is, like, if you do this thing with the social norm, then, yeah, those kids are going to end up messed up. But it's up to the parents to make sure that, they're doing what they need to do. It's like my kids, I try and just make sure that they know, like, there's consequences for your actions,
right?
And like, you need to make decisions for yourself. I'm not going to be there for you all times, and you're going to make the wrong decisions, but you need to learn that these are going to be your decisions, and you got to live with them, right? So
it's good that you do that, and like, you fall into the category of what I would call a good parent. But
yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that aren't
bad parents, and like, I personally. And I don't want to say that.
And that's a personal choice. Like,
right.
I
don't want to say that I don't want the responsibility, but it's like, I don't want the potential to be a bad parent.
Sure. Yeah.
Because all I knew growing up from my parents, except my dad. Like, my dad was also abusive as a kid, but like, as soon as I was big enough to hit back, like, that shit stopped. You know, but like, even my dad like would abuse me with his hands, and like with window dowels, he used to beat me with like these. I don't know if you know what a dowel is, but it's a stick that you put between your window to keep people from opening it. So like, you'd beat with those. I mean, so both of my parents, not just my mom and my stepdad, but my dad too, would abuse me, and like, that's all I know.
Right.
And so it's like, people are like, oh, well, you just, parent the opposite of how your parents parented you. And I'm like, do you really think it's that simple? Do you really think it's just like, okay, my parents did this to me for 20 years. I'm just going to completely act differently because I know how to do that. No, I don't know how to be kind and loving. Like, that loving is a term in my mind that's only been applicable for like a couple of years, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still learning what love is. Hell, sympathizing with people, empathizing with people, trying to feel bad for people, and like being there for people and going through some shit. No, dude. For a long time, I was like, that's your shit. That's your problem. But having a kid, you need to be there for everything and support them through everything. And I don't know if I could do that. And so basically where I'm at in that regard with children specifically, and it's funny we're talking about kids, because like my fiance, I think it was last weekend, she had a dream where I was preaching to a youth group at a church, which is really weird, but I guess not, given the current course of our conversation and God being a common factor. But anyways, in my mind, this this can kind of summarize like why I believe I'm here. Purpose, right? I believe that we all have a common purpose as humans, and I believe that common purpose is to strive to make a positive impact in as many lives around us as possible. Okay, if we can just do that one thing, then your own life will become something so magnificent, so beautiful, that like it makes everything else inconsequential. Meaning your own wins, your own successes. Like I don't care how far I get in bodybuilding. I don't care if I ever make it to the Olympia. I don't care how many titles I win. I hope I get to the Olympia. I hope I make the Olympia. I hope I win the Olympia, sure. Okay. But like bodybuilding for me, and the reason that I chose to get into this lifestyle is like bodybuilding takes discipline. Bodybuilding's hard. You have to choose to, like, and weightlifting and personal training, any fitness related activity is hard. You have to make the choice to do it and engage in it. And the most importantly is you have to be disciplined and consistent over an extended period of time. Every day, every week, every month, every year, that you have that goal in the back of your mind. And that goal is in my mind until the day I die. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to do just a little bit more today. I have a journal and I can go back on my workouts and be like, okay, I did this, wait for this amount of reps. Okay, I'm going to try to do 17 curls at 45 pounds instead of 15. I'm going to try to do this and like try to just do a little bit more. Okay. And what that does is like, dude, people start noticing. People start noticing your intensity and your commitment. For me, people start noticing that I'm a cripple on leg days. I start hobbling around the gym like I need a walking stick, and people think I'm injured. I'm like, no, it's leg day, yo. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard. But I believe that everything in life that happens for a reason, and it can be either constructive or destructive in how we view it and react to it. And I believe that like my life, like, yeah, dude, it's hard, obviously. Like I broke down how many times telling my story today? It's hard, right? And like I have every right in the world to be like, I can be a victim. Woe is me. Life's so hard. I'm not gonna do shit. I'm gonna rely on the government, try to be on unemployment and food stamps, and not do shit with my life. Or on the flip side of that, I can be like, I'm going to take all this stuff that's happened to me and I'm going to apply that in the gym, and I'm going to push myself every single day, every single set, every single rep as hard as I possibly can. Because I know in my mind there's no amount of pain I can put myself in the gym that can compare to the pain I felt out in the world. Okay? And that's what I want to teach people, especially kids, is that things are going to happen in life. Okay? You're going to lose friends. You're going to see people die. You're going to see some dark shit. Life's going to be really hard for some people. Some people, you know, they go through life and everything's sunshine and rainbows, right? Like, but for some people like me, it's a very dark and nasty place. And you have to be able to find it within yourself to bring that light that's inside of you into the world. Okay? You have to find that light inside of yourself to get out of that darkness. And once you get out of that darkness, once you learn the actions and habits necessary to become a better version of yourself that pull you out, right? And you become a role model of any sort, right? That's capable of impacting other people. Like as a personal trainer, you're a personal trainer, right? Like, so you influence the lives of other people. Once you get to the point where you can influence the lives of other people, you have like almost this moral obligation to work as hard as you possibly can on being the best version of yourself. And like, that's the beautiful thing about bodybuilding is you can never reach the top. You can never be in the best shape ever and just be like, this is it. I'm going to stay right here forever. No. That's like, you can always improve in something, right? And so like so bodybuilding is going to take me and allow me to speak to other people about, in being in darkness and realizing that, like, hey, yeah, you're going through all this dark stuff, but hey, first of all, it's okay, right? Like, it's okay. Things will get better. Get help. Let people help you. And understand that things happen for a reason and that things will get better if you choose to make it better. And that's the things you have to make the choice, right? Like, it's not going to just magically happen. Life's not going to just line everything up in a row and be like, hey, this is what you need to do, get from A to B. Like, no. You need to, A, humble yourself and pray to God and ask for guidance. B, learn to listen to signs when they present themselves to you. Analyze them, learn from them. And C, take the corrective actions necessary to put you in the best possible position that you can be in. That's it. Right? And so, like, that's kind of where I'm at with life, I guess.
Yeah. What's your plan then? Are you going to try and start a social media and trying to reach out to kids, or you want to, like, speaking, or what do you want to do?
So right now, I'm working at a company called Black Box VR. Okay, I'm working for a guy named Ryan DeLuca. He started bodybuilding.com. And he's actually agreed to sponsor me for this year's show. But I'm going to be working at Black Box for the foreseeable future, because financially it's a very rewarding place to be. And so basically it'll allow me to be in a position that, like, A, I'm in a gym, right? Like, it's a virtual reality gym, but I'm in a gym. Every day I'm interacting with people that, want to improve their lives, right? So, like, for me, that's huge, because it's like I want to help people improve the quality of their lives. And so it's like, if I can do that at work, great, right? But also, like, financially speaking, long term, so, like, Black Box VR right now, there's only one location, okay? It's in Meridian. It's out by Sensi Commons on Pine Street, or it's off of Pine Street, excuse me. And we have plans to grow and expand and get out to about, I think, 1,800 franchise locations is where we want to be at before we sell, something like that. But this year we're opening our first 3. We're in the process of getting licensing to allow us to start working with franchise partners to expand. So basically, right now I'm just a general manager, right, running the flagship location. But in time, hopefully we develop to the point where we have coast-to-coast operations here in America, but also an international presence as well. So we have interest in Dubai, London, Turkey, and, like, a couple other places in Europe for Black Box. Okay, so we have the potential to be this huge global brand. Okay, and I can't really get into specifics, but, like, it set me up, like, long term to be very financially successful. So, like, when Black Box sells or absolves, and Ryan sells it to someone else, and I can get into public speaking or writing a book or starting build. Like, I have a goal, like a long term goal of mine is to make enough money to build a new library for the city of Boise, because, like, it's been on the ballot measures the last couple of years, and it just gets shot down every year. And so it's like, because, like, the city values athletics, it seems like, over academics, and so it's like, I believe, which isn't a bad thing. I believe that the government supporting physical activity is a good thing. Okay, but, like, my point is that education is also important. Okay, and Boise's due for a new downtown library, so it's like, I would love to just say, hey, here's $10 million. Do with it what you will. Build a new building. I don't care, right? But it's like, I want to build a center, because, like, reading for me has always been, like, my way of learning and advancing, right? So it's like, if I can create that environment for other people, then that would be huge. And, like, Black Box has the opportunity to do that for me in the long term.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I think it'd be, until you can even start on your public speaking, just even talking on your social medias or whatever, and getting that growing would be cool, just to get your foot in the door, at least with talking to people, you know?
Yeah. And so they're helping me with social media and like putting out like fitness content.
Yeah.
And so like cause like I'm not a big social media guy, man. Like you look at my Instagram page, my last post is from October. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have a lot of activity just cause like I try to keep things private.
Sure.
Like, you know, in today's day and age, social media is huge. And it's like Ryan's like, yeah, dude, he has a strategy and we have a plan. So it's like, yeah, social media, I will be using social media more, especially to put out content in relation to fitness and bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
But also like once I learn like how podcasting works, how video editing works and things like that, I'm going to start recording probably some motivational type stuff or who knows.
Yeah.
But no, social media is huge. I mean, that's how we connect outside the gym, right? Like,
Right.
so, I mean, if you can learn to use that to your advantage to, you know, build a network, it'd be huge. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
I mean, the podcasting thing, lots of YouTube, man. I had nobody really teach me. I've had a couple of people been able to, bounce ideas off of or ask them, how do I do this or whatever. But most of the stuff I had to learn was like how to put a title, how to everything.
How do I video edit? How do I regulate sound? Right. Like
Exactly.
how do I keep people's voices under control? Like, how does the microphone work? How do the cameras set up? Right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think, but everybody I talk to says like the best thing to do is just start because read enough books, you won't be able to do anything. It's like you got to get the hands on. Like,
well, what I've learned in my time is that most people will accept a life of complacency disguised as mediocrity because of fear. I believe in my heart that people are afraid to live a life that they really want, whether that fear is based in failure, whether that fear is based in someone rejecting your ideas, telling you that you can't do it, or that you shouldn't be doing it, or that you should be doing something else. I believe that fear stops a lot of people from being great. And like anything worthwhile in life, man, whether it's relationships, whether it's podcasting, whether it's bodybuilding, anything. You talk to anyone that's ever done anything in life, success is always on the other side of fear. Reward is always on the other side of fear. If you can just keep going, take that first step, right? Like maybe get knocked back, right? Like, oh, hey, maybe, I need to change the way I'm doing things. Maybe I need to go into something else, right? But like, keep going, keep trying, keep moving forward. Always move forward, never backwards, right? The windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, right? Like we're meant to move forward. Okay, we're not supposed to look backwards, right? Once things happen, they're done, right? And so it's like, and especially as you grow and formulate as a podcaster, as an influencer, and for me as a bodybuilder, is like, you know what? Things are going to happen. I might make some mistakes. I might get last place, right? Like I might only get 100 views on my podcast, right? But like, who knows? Maybe you'll have 100 million one day. Maybe I'll qualify for the Olympia. You know, we don't know how the apples are going to fall from the tree, right? But if we keep shaking that tree, something's going to happen. If we keep moving, something's going to keep happening. But if we stop and we give up and we let that fear, that voice in our head telling us to, hey, man, like, that hurt. Maybe you should stay down. Maybe you should stay where you're at. Maybe you should go back into retail. You know, maybe you should give up this whole podcast thing. Maybe you should give up bodybuilding. Maybe you should go sell shoes, whatever, right? Like, I don't know how many times I've heard people tell me that they've given up on something because they're A, either afraid or B, that it hurts. And that's the other thing. Pain, right? Pain. Life is going to hurt.
Yep.
And you can't just stop when it starts to hurt. Like Tom Platz, right? Back in the 70s and 80s, like massive quads, right? Like his training videos are so fun to watch because you just And like you ask him, like, God, Tom, how many reps did you do? Like, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I didn't start counting until it started hurting. Right? Like that mentality is wild. I didn't start counting until it started hurting.
Yeah.
Right?
That's when the
Like,
growth happens.
right. And it's like fear, pain, whatever. Right? Like if you allow anything outside of your own mind to stop you from doing anything, you're weak. And like Jordan Peterson, right? I love Jordan Peterson. He has this quote about the meek shall inherit the earth, right? And it's a biblical quote. And he's talking about the Israelites, I believe. And I'm not really exactly sure. But, anyways, he's talking about what it means to be meek. And he's like, it's better to learn how to use a sword and know when to use it than not know how to use it at all. Meaning, if you have the proclivity and the ability for violence, and you have the ability to control that violence, you will inherit the world. But if you just choose to be weak, if you just choose to let life keep you where you are, you're not going to inherit the world. You're not going to inherit anything. You're going to be the same pathetic victim that the world sees you as.
Yeah.
But if you just keep plugging along, man, you can inherit the world.
Right. Yeah, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Totally. And it's like, yeah, man, you just got to keep going, really.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is the biggest advice you'd give your younger self?
That's a good question. I know it's hard, but just keep going. Do better, be better. Vague, sure, but do better, be better. I wish someone would have told me that, and people did tell me that when I was younger. Like you need to do better, you need to be better, do better things, be around better people, and yeah, that's the advice I would give, man. Is just do better, be better, and life will work itself out.
It seems like everything changed for you then once you hit rock bottom.
Yeah, it's like Sisyphus, right? Sisyphus is a Greek mythological hero that was doomed to roll a boulder up a mountain eternity, only to have it roll back down to the bottom once he got to the top, right? And that cycle would repeat forever. Now, why would Sisyphus keep going? Yeah, sure. Obviously, he was doomed to do this for eternity by Zeus, right? But like, if you parallel that to human existence, and like you get to the top of the mountain, professional golfer, right? Like life's great. I have sponsorships. I have money. Like I'm playing golf every day. Life's great. But life deals you a blow. Life rolls a boulder back down. Hey, anxiety. Hey, maybe you're not as good as you thought you were, right? Now, when that boulder rolls back down and you get back down in the valley, right? You have two choices. Do you stay there and let that boulder keep you down, or do you pick up the burden and try to scale that mountain again, right? Life. There's an old quote from Shakespeare that I really like that's like, all the world's a stage and the men and women are merely players. Now, if we think about that in the stage, right? Like I think stage is like a basketball court in a game, right? So if like Shakespeare's saying that life is a game, and let's agree that it's a game just for the sake of conversation. So life is a game of peaks and valleys, right? Highs and lows, wins and losses. Life's not about the wins, and it's not about the losses. It's about how you manage the gaps in between. Okay? How do you respond when life deals you the loss of a loved one, when your wife dies, or your brother dies, your business fails, right? The IRS says you owe them $50,000. What do? Do you quit? Do you give up? Do you kill yourself? Do you take the easy way out? What do? Right? unfortunately, a lot of people choose to take. I tried, you know. But I tell you one thing: if you choose to stay down, life's always going to be the same. It's always going to be that pit of chaos and despair. But if you choose to pick up that boulder and keep moving, man, yeah, sure, life might hurt again, life might suck again, but life might also be great. You might meet some truly spectacular people and get to experience some amazing things if you just keep going. That's it.
Yeah, a lot of the people I've talked to over the years, especially on golf courses, I always ask like business people that I'm golfing with or paired up with. I always ask them like, "Hey, I want to go into business. What's some advice you'd give me?"
Sure.
And like the comments are always, "Don't quit when it gets hard and build relationships with people."
Yeah.
Like, but it's always don't quit. It's gonna be hard. The difference between winners and losers is
Those that
winners
keep
don't-
going.
Yeah, right. Just keep going.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard. Every time you beat a character, it's gonna get harder at the
Yeah.
next level. There's always
That's how
gonna
you
be a new
advance.
guy. Yeah, there's always gonna be someone new. So
Yep.
it's like just don't quit. It's gonna be, it's always easier going downhill, but you're
Right.
getting further away from your goals. If you just keep going up, it's not always gonna be like a straight
Yeah,
uphill. You
it's
might
gonna be
go
hard,
down, it's
but,
up.
you
Like
know?
that trajectory line isn't just a straight uphill line. You're not always going to be going up. If you
Right.
zoom in on it, it's going to be going up and down. But as long as you go down 2 steps, you go up 4 steps, you're learning. You might take some losses along the way.
Yep.
Everybody's going to have a hard life. Like, it's just, what do you do? The difference between winners and losers, what do you do when you're knocked down,
Yeah. The winners get up and they keep moving. So it's like, I'm going to keep moving, dude. I'm going to keep doing my thing.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Die.
And everybody dies. Like, so if you know that that's the end result, why don't you do as good as you can while you're here?
You use the time that you're given, right? And so, like, that's the thing, man. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And, like, for those of us that go through things and we question why we're here and we're blessed with opportunities to advance and become better, you need to understand that time is precious. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Hell, you don't know if you're going to make it through today.
Yeah.
Okay. But what you can do is make sure that you spend every waking moment loving yourself, loving those around you, and trying to improve the life of at least one person every single day. You might miss the mark here and there, but you just do those 3 things. Love yourself, love other people, and try to improve the life of someone else.
Yeah.
Life's awesome.
Yeah. Living life with gratitude.
Yeah.
Just being grateful you woke up. There's a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning.
Right.
So once you can be happy for the little things, nothing could get you down,
Yeah. That can get you down, but like you don't have to stay there.
Yeah, right?
Like
You can have a bad moment. You don't have to have a bad day.
Yeah, everyone's gonna get shit on at some point. Mud's gonna get thrown in your face, but like wash yourself off. Put on some new clothes.
Right? Yeah, I think that's huge. Everybody's just got to have a positive outlook. I mean, you're going to have bad times, obviously, right? But like whether you see bad in the world or you see good, that's what you're going to attract.
Right.
So,
yeah, the law of attraction is a real thing. And so it's like, for a long time I allowed myself to be a victim, and like it got me nowhere but rock bottom. And like that's the thing, is like you can be a victim or a victor, and like, man, you just got to keep going, because life's not going to change unless you change.
yeah, there's a really good saying I like. I might butcher it, but it's like when a boy realizes nobody comes to save him,
Right,
then
that's when he
they
becomes
become
a
a
man.
man.
Right.
And some people just say boys their whole life.
Right.
That's
I had to become a man very early on. And like I said, I've tried to take myself out, and God's like, nah, man, you're not done. And so it's like, until I wake up dead, I'm gonna I'm gonna keep trying to be better myself, trying to improve the lives of those around me, and like and so like I'm still learning like my connection with God, and like trying to be able to use His word and His principles to speak to other people, so that it's like, hey, it's not me doing these things. Okay, this is something way bigger than me that gives me the strength to do this.
That's a huge thing too, is just realizing that it's bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like your actions are bigger than, just affecting you. Cause like if you're going to stop spreading your word and your story and everything, and it doesn't help that one person you're trying to
Right.
help, then
But
it's
if you
bigger
use
than
God's
just you.
word
Yeah.
to be like, hey, and that's the thing, like I haven't won any sort of open show yet, but like any victory I get, all the credit's going to go to God. Why? Because he's the one that's constantly been there for me. Even when I didn't know he was there, didn't want him to be there. And I even refused him for a very long time. But because of like God's direct actions in my life, man, like, I need to be able to understand his word to the point where I can use it to speak to other people. Like, and that's how so I'm seeking help on that. But like, because like I said, it's been 8 years since I've met that dude at the golf course, but like, I still don't know how to read the Bible. I don't know how to like preach the gospel and all this stuff. So like,
Sure.
one day, but
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I know you said you're not too big on social media, but is there anywhere that people can follow you?
yeah. So Instagram, Iron Seeker is my handle, and then I'm on Facebook as well, Brady Greer. Those are the two pages that I'm on. Yeah.
And then Black Box, you guys have a website or
Black
like a Facebook or anything?
hyphen VR.com. So yeah, Black Box. Right, let's talk about Black Box for a minute, right? Because like I want to give them a plug, but also I think it's really cool. Because we actually like to bring you in sometime, have you try it.
Yeah.
But Black Box, is really cool. It's virtual reality. Okay, and so like people are like, what is that? Is it on the internet? No, you come in and we have 14 booths in the building. Each booth has a self-articulating cable machine, handles that go up and down. And there's a center support beam that comes out, and there's 6 base exercises. There's chest press, overhead press, rows, lat pull downs, squats, and deadlifts, right? And so like we have these core exercises, and in the game, so like Black Box is a game, right? In the game, you have this energy crystal in the center of your platform. You're in an arena on a platform, and on your platform there's an energy crystal with 2 gates on either side. And so you have to protect your crystal from your opponent sending out champions, right? So you have to perform exercises to create elixir to be able to send out your own champions to protect your gates and stuff. And so like it takes fitness, which can be, and working out, which can be, let's face it, really boring for most people. Like training's boring. Like it's not fun. Okay. So how do you take exercise, okay, and make it fun? You make it a game, right? And so also I believe that a lot of people struggle with self-image issues, and I believe that people are afraid of going to a gym like 3D or like Mecca, where I normally train. I only train at 3D once a week when I train with Charlie. My home gym's Mecca. But to go to a place like Mecca, for example, 3D is nice. It's a little bit private, a little bit more quiet, my kind of style. It's just 30 minutes from my house, so like Mecca is just super convenient. But Mecca, like, dude, it's busy, it's packed. Someone like a single mom in her 40s, right? That's maybe got a little extra weight, right? Like she's gonna feel uncomfortable going in that environment. She's gonna feel like people are judging her. Like, who's this fatty over here trying to press some dumbbells, right? Like her form is shit. She doesn't know what she's doing. People think like that. Unfortunately, people think that others are judging them, right? And so a lot of people will never pursue physical fitness because they're afraid of that judgment. And so what Black Box does is it creates an environment that's completely private. And so like each booth you go in, you close the door, you put on your headset, and you're taken to like a whole other world, right? And like for that 30 minutes, like you're in your own space, doing your own thing. And like I mentioned this earlier before we started recording, right? Like in bodybuilding, in prep, like the way you get so lean is by calorie expenditure in a caloric deficit, right? like in order to get show ready, you have to put yourself in a very heavy caloric deficit while also expending as much energy as possible, burning as many calories as possible, right? And so normally, for myself, during prep, I would do anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes of cardio 4 to 6 times a week. Okay. And I would burn during, let's call it 60 minutes, I would burn 300 calories, maybe 400 calories an hour, right? Which is decent, right? But in 30 minutes at Black Box, excuse me, because of the way the game is structured, the machine will perform this basic strength assessment and will force you to progress at a 0.1 percentage for every single rep that you do. So every rep gets harder, every single set gets harder, and it doesn't stop in 30 minutes. You have like a 10-second overlay between rounds, but you're constantly moving. And so in 30 minutes, in my last workout, I burned 620 calories in 30 minutes, right? And so it's like you take that energy expenditure of 620 calories and factor in the time spent, 30 minutes, and compare it to bodybuilding, 60 minutes, 400 calories. It's like, shit, I can go walk on a treadmill or on the Stairmaster for an hour and burn 400 calories and be totally miserable and bored out of my mind. Or I can go over to Black Box and like play a game for 30 minutes and burn 500-600 calories, right? And it's like for me, it's all about the energy, it's like my cardio, right? But like for everyone else, like our customer base, right? Like we want to target those people that like don't have the confidence necessary to go to a normal gym, which is a big problem for a lot of people because our obesity rate's over 70%. And it's like, okay, why are those people obese? They're not moving. Why are they not moving? Okay, a lot of people are lazy, sure, but a lot of people are afraid to go to where they need to get better, right? And so, but also like it's a video game, right? So like tech people that play video games and stuff can also really enjoy it. But so, yeah, that's kind of Black Box and like how I think it's going to be really cool to see how it shapes my next prep. And because we're going to use that as like Charlie's like, yeah, dude, you don't need to do any normal cardio besides like on Mondays before you work out with me. I want you to do some cardio to warm up for our sessions, but like I want you to do Black Box like 3 times a week and let's see how your body fat percentage compares while we're in bulk, but also like conditioning while we're in prep. Like how does that change doing Black Box versus normal standard state cardio, right? So I'm kind of like a guinea pig.
Yeah, that's cool,
right
man.
Now.
Yeah. Is that like you pay every time you go in, or is it a membership?
So you can. So first of all, you asked me about the website, right? It's blackbox-vr.com. On the website, there's a little link that you can click to come try for $1. That $1 will give you a free week. Okay, so you can come try it for, I think it's up to 3 visits in that first week. And so our onboarding process, because you have to learn how the machine works, how to do the exercises in the game, right? It's like we have this onboarding process of like 6 workouts where it teaches you the workouts, it teaches you the game, strategies, and all that, right? And so like the $1 gets you the first 3 workouts, which is half the onboarding process. So it's like at that juncture, it's like, okay, you have a choice. It's like, do you enjoy this or not? Do you feel like it can improve your life? Do you see yourself engaging in this activity regularly going forward? Okay, a lot of people, we have a conversion rate right now of 68%, okay, on selling new leads, right? In the gym industry and the fitness industry, if you go talk to a gym owner and ask them what their conversion rate is on new leads, typically it's 20, 25%. Rarely does it get above that number. So to have a conversion rate of 68%, clearly we've created this environment that's conducive to people wanting to be there, right? And so the $1 gets you in for the first week. After that, there's different membership pricing options based on your availability and your commitment level. Okay, so we create our pricing based off of people and their desirability, let's say, to be fit, right? And so we have an off-peak package, which is anytime, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, for I think it's like $99 a month for 3 sessions a week. Okay. To go off-peak unlimited as many times as you want, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on the weekends. Weekends are 9 to 3 on Saturday, 11 to 3 on Sundays. Unlimited off-peak is like $130 a month. And then I think the next package up is VIP membership, which is anytime, any day, 3 times a week is I think $150.99 a month, and then I think for $199 a month, it's $199 a month is anytime, as much as you want. Come on in.
Nice.
So it's definitely what we would call a boutique facility. It's not like a place like Crunch or Axiom that relies on thousands of members to make a 2% profit margin. It's like, no, we want to have 200 to 300 members that can pay the higher premium price because we believe that we've created a product that is worth that price. Okay. I mean, the machine's $80,000. The headsets are a couple $100, right? Like everything that goes into it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But also the environment that we create is great. So like when you get through onboarding and you finish your 6 workouts, you can join teams, and teams compete over what are called seasons, and seasons are broken down into 3-month periods. And so at the last week of each month of each season, there are what are called raids, where people on teams compete together to achieve objectives and reward points. Okay, and you tabulate those reward points, and it results in a leaderboard, right? And at the end of each season, we have an award party, and so like we give out awards to our top 3 teams. It's this big, huge party, food and drinks, and so it's like, yes, it's a very private environment, but we also make it very community focused as well.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool thing, dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing else like that in the area, is there?
No, it's the first of its kind. I mean, there are virtual reality places where you can go and like play video games,
right?
Like shooting zombie games and stuff like that in VR. But like, so far as like a virtual reality gym, it is the first of its kind.
That's sweet. I'll have to put a link in and then
Yeah,
send everybody
please
that
do.
way. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well,
You should come check it out yourself too.
Yeah, I think I should. Yeah, over in Meridian, not too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. I think you're on track to do some big things. I can't wait to watch your future, and hopefully we'll get you back on here once you're getting more of the personal training and all that, and then maybe once you get an open win under your belt, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
Because you got that October this year, yeah.
Yeah,
Is that what you said, October?
Idaho Cup. We're locked into that, and then we're going to pick another show. So hopefully, maybe sometime in November, I can come on and talk about a win. But
dude, that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
I think you can do it. You got the tenacity and the determination. So
it's only a matter of time, and that's the thing. Like, it's time, man. Like you don't build the masterpiece overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Like bodybuilding, like to build a quality physique takes years.
Oh yeah,
years. And it's like I've only been doing this for 5 years, right? And so it's like, yes, I have a novice win, sure, but like I haven't gotten that open level yet. And so it's like when I do, man, it's gonna feel good.
That'd be good. Yeah.
But no, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Brady.